Welcome to another ranking video. Today we are ranking Carach Angren, those symphonic black metal theatrical boys, and we're going to have some fun with it. So, we are ranking them from my least favourite to my favourite, just like all the other tier lists. And this is a band which I've had a love-hate relationship with. Starting off with hating them, I was like, it's too cheesy, too theatrical, too just overblown. But then I kind of just kept listening, and I was kind of just getting more and more into them, and I was like, you know what, these stories are fun. Most of the albums are like a concept album based on something. The stories are fun, the rhythms and the melodies are actually pretty good, and I love the vocal deliveries of some of these songs. I love myself some concept albums, Still Life being my favourite album of all time, so fuck it. They've grown on me a lot, and I enjoy all of these albums, to be honest. I enjoy every single one now, which is why there's only B, A, S and favourite. So, give bands a chance, keep trying them, sometimes you'll love them. Speaking of cheesy and fun symphonic black metal, Dimmu Borgir's Aeonian has grown on me as well. the song Council of Wolves and Snakes, where it's like, wolves and snakes. It's cheesy, yes, but I don't fucking care. It's good music. I like it, it's fun. Not quite cult, but fun. So yeah, let's rank them before I babble too much. So least favourite. My least favourite Carach Angren album may be a shocker. It might be a shocker because it is the debut. Holy shit. Holy shit. Why, Questy? Why? Probably because this one is probably the most straightforward release they've done. Very, very low on the symphonic scale. It's not bombastic. It's not out there. But that's kind of why it loses the charm as the rest of them, because the rest of them has this kind of just like I'm watching a play, and it's like a brutal play, and it's gory and fun with some cool screams. So this one has that early edge and that early atmosphere, but it just doesn't have the overblown nature as some of these other albums, which is why for some people this will be the best. Like, I'm pretty sure Satanic on the Discord would like this one the best. For me though, I don't know, it's kind of like Summoning's first album, which I love. Lugbuzz is fucking amazing, but it's just not the same as the rest, if you know what I mean. Still good, but not the same. And that's why that's least favourite. Next up is the latest one, Frankensteiner Stratomontan. Yeah, that one. This one I didn't like when I first heard it. This is the first album I heard by the band, Late Bloomer, I know. I heard it and I was like, what is this? I don't like this. Re-listening to it, I've grown to enjoy it. Some of the songs on here really actually quite catchy. The title track especially. Oh, now that's a fun one. Cool concept, but again, it's not my favourite. I've listened to it probably more than these others, but it just hasn't gripped me as much. I still enjoy it, and I still think it's a B-tier album, but it's not as good as the others. So yeah, B-tier. Is anything else going to go in B-tier? I don't think so. I think that's the only B-tier for me. Next up, we're going on to A tier, so I'm going to go with, This Ain't No Fairy Tale. This one, I know Jamie loves this one a lot. It's like a creepy, like, Hansel and Gretel thing going on in this album. Really cool fairy tale aesthetic and vibe in the songs, and it is quite a creepy album, but I just don't think it's as impactful as some of these others. And one of them, people will be like, why is that so high? But yeah, well, we'll get to that. So yeah, This Ain't No Fairy Tale, I think it's good. I think it's a step up from these two. Still heavy, still fun, but just the songs just not as catchy or as good as on these other two. Or three, sorry. Don't spoil your fucking ranking already, Questy. Next up, let's talk about Dance and Sing Among the Rotten. This album's so good. Holy shit, I love this album. This album's amazing. I know some people would probably swap these two, but the songs on here, goddamn slap. My favourite probably being Song for the Dead, which is probably my favourite song they've ever done, and it's weird because it's like a ballad. It's probably my favourite song. It's just got such a cool melody, and also Charles Francis Coughlin, like, that's such a good chorus on that song. This is probably the most sing-alongable for me, the most fun, and that's why it's here, but not quite as good as the next two. So the next one is Where the Corpses Sink Forever, and this one is like a wartime themed album, and it's just, it's heavy, man. Like, songs were, like, there's a violinist, like, dying, and the songs where the guy keeps trying to kill himself, but he can't. It's brutal. It's probably the most brutal album they've done. Almost favourite. Very close to being favourite. Subject matter's great. It's grim. It's disgusting, and I love it, but it's not quite Death Came Through a Phantom Ship, which is easily one of the greatest symphonic black metal albums. Like, this is just perfect. Perfect storytelling. Of course I like it because it's about, you know, ghost ship and shit. It's creepy, it's spooky. Reminds me of, like, Ahab or Antarctica the Polymorphous, that song. No, just the storytelling in this one is perfection. Like, the storytelling in this is perfection. The songs bleed into each other so good. It's creepy. It's easily the creepiest one on this entire list. I adore it. It's my favourite. It's one of the greatest symphonic black metal albums. And yeah, I love it. So a band that went from like one of my least favourites to like pretty high in my list. I love a lot of these albums. A lot from A to favourite. Like these four, real goddamn good. So yeah, that is my list for Carach Angren. Do you like them? Do you think it's too much? No? I think in this genre, it can't be too much. You've got to have fun with it, you know? So yeah, my favourite is Death Came From a Phantom Ship, and my least favourite is The Debut. So, let me know how you'd rank them down below, and we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.